Hey y'all, it's Amanda, and today I'm on the back patio earlier in the morning before it gets too hot. And today I have a kind of a different subject for me. I want to talk about fruit trees that grow under 8 feet. Now, you guys might be asking, Amanda, you don't grow fruit trees. I know, that's the problem, right? I recently got back from Europe and I loved it there. And I was amazed at the freshness of all of the produce and the food and the simplicity of it. And it really kind of inspired me to start rethinking my garden in some ways, specifically about growing more food within my garden. And with that being said, I love fruit and I would love to be able to grow some fruit. And specifically, I would love to go ahead and start planting some fruit trees within my garden. But I have a tiny garden, right? And so I've been spending over a week now researching small fruit trees that are shorter than 8 foot. So we're looking at small fruit trees that are perfect for small gardens and patios, specifically in my North Texas Zone 8 area. And I think what I've discovered with all this research is you don't need 5 acres to grow fruit trees or to have an orchard. More than anything, when researching these trees for my garden is I think it's important that choosing the right variety is what makes all the difference in the world. So today I'm sharing the fruit trees on my list that stay relatively compact. That's important. Grow well in the North Texas area and don't require a lot of babying because you guys know I'm not going to do that. All right, let's get specific. What makes a good small garden fruit tree? So before choosing a tree, I'm going to be looking for a few different things. I want it to be naturally compact growth or easy to grow in a container. I want it to have a good disease resistance because fruit trees are notorious for disease issues. I need it to be cold hardy to zone 8 in my North Texas area. I want it to be productive. I don't want it just to grow 3 pieces of fruit and that's it. I need it to be easy to prune. I don't want anything that's overly complicated. And I need it to be self-pollinating when possible. And self-pollinating is mean I don't have to have a male and a female tree in order to be able to get fruit. I can just have a single tree and it does the pollinating itself. A fruit tree can live in your garden for decades, so it's worth spending a little extra time choosing the right variety. And I'm definitely one of those people every spring and every fall I get excited when they bring out all the fruit trees at Home Depot or Lowe's or my local nurseries, and I go and paw through them. I never buy anything, but I like to go paw through them. And every year I wish I had done the research prior to that happening. So here we are. We're good to go for this next year. So I ended up selecting 7 different varieties of fruit trees for my list. And there are hundreds and hundreds of varieties, but I really narrowed it down to these 7. I'm not saying I'm going to put all 7 of these in my garden. These are the 7 that I'm going to continue to research, keep my eye out for, and get a better understanding of so that when the time comes, I am ready to purchase one of them. So today when I'm going over each of these, we're going to be talking about the height, the spread, the hardiness, sun and water needs, and specifically why I love this tree, why it made my list. All right, the first one is Bonanza Dwarf Peach. Its height is only about 5 to 6 feet tall, and I'm about 5'10", so about my height. The spread is 4 to 6 feet wide. Its hardiness is zones 5 through 9. It likes full sun and moderate water needs. But let's talk about why I love this specific one. This is probably the easiest peach to recommend for a small garden. So many people online say that this is an excellent peach for a small area. It naturally stays compact while still producing full-size peaches. So that's one of the great things about it. You're not having to keep a 20-foot tree within your garden to grow these full-size peaches, much smaller. It is self-pollinating, which is awesome. It's excellent for containers, so you can grow it in one large container and actually prune it to size. It's easy to cover during late frost, so it's not so big that I can't throw something over it in order to protect those buds from late frost, and it's very simple to prune. Okay, number 2 on my list is called Urban Apple, either the Tasty Red variety or the Golden Treat variety. Its height is about 6 to 8 feet tall, but don't let that fool you because its spread is only 2 to 3 feet wide, and it's hardy in zones 4 through 9. So why do I love this? Why is it on my list? This is a columnar apple, so it is designed specifically for tiny gardens, patios, and narrow spaces. It grows in a compact column-like form, which is fascinating to me. I literally think I could put 3 or 4 of these in my garden and it would be absolutely fine. These produce fruit along the main trunk rather than widespread branches. So all the fruit is collected along the main trunk. It's a very cool looking tree. For the North Texas areas, you specifically want to choose a low chill columnar variety if available from the local nurseries. Low chill meaning it doesn't have to get very cold for a long period of time in order to produce fruit the next season. Because in North Texas areas, we could definitely have some colder weather, but there are definitely warmer winters where we don't hit those colder temps. So making sure with any fruit tree you're choosing a low chill is significant and very important. I think these are very, very cool, funky looking fruit trees, and I think they definitely give like an Alice in Wonderland whimsical vibe to the garden. Okay, number 3 on my list is Garden Gem or Garden Belle Dwarf Pear. So this guy is about 6 to 8 feet tall. The spread is only 3 to 4 feet, so very small spread. Its hardiness is zones 5 through 8 and it requires full sun. Now, why I love it and why it made my list. It's one of the easier fruit trees for beginners, which I really like because there's not a lot to deal with it. It doesn't have a lot of disease issues. It's not really difficult with pruning. There's just not a lot of difficult things for it. So it's really good for beginners, and I would be a beginner fruit tree gardener. It has less disease pressure, which is great. You're not constantly having to spray it and spray it and spray it. It adapts well to containers, and you're going to see that a lot of these I'm talking about are for containers, and that specifically is because of my colder weather. Do I want them in a container so I can move them? Am I specifically wanting them in a container so that if I don't plant them in the ground, it's not forever? I do like the idea that they can be in containers. That's easier to prune and harvest than standard pears. Now, my big thing is, do I love a pear? I'm not sure I love pear fruit enough to grow it myself, but I was still intrigued. So this still made my list. That was one of the hard things, is making sure that I choose a fruit that I will actually enjoy and eat with my family. So that's super important for me. Okay, number 4 on the list is Little Miss Figgy figs. Their height is only about 4 to 6 feet tall. The spread is 3 to 4 feet. The hardiness is zones 7 through 10, and they are full sun. And my mother-in-law had massive fig trees on her old property that were like 20, 25 feet tall, and the amount of figs she has was insane. They did suffer a little bit if we had too cold of a winter, but they always ended up growing back from the base. Now, why I love this particular variety, why it made my list. It is self-pollinating, so I only have to have the one tree. I don't have to have a male and a female variety. It is naturally compact while producing full-size sweet figs, so that's something that's important to me. We're going to talk about another tree later that produces smaller fruits, but I love this idea of these small trees that produce full-size fruits. It's ideal for patios, courtyards, and suburban gardens, that's my garden. So I think that would be really cool to try. And it has almost no spraying requirements. And my mother-in-law never really did anything with her figs and still had great production, which that's my vibe. That's what I want. I don't want something that I have to baby and stress about for multiple seasons. I don't mind doing like one spray or one kind of thing to protect it, but I definitely don't want to be doing multiple every couple of weeks throughout the fruiting season. Now, once again, going back to this, do I love figs enough? Do I love figs enough to be able to grow a fig tree? I don't know. Pears and figs. Peach, apples, love those. But pears and figs, yeah, I don't know about that. So that's why I got to think about it. All right, number 5 on my list is a tree that I already grow, improved Meyer lemon. I don't grow it well though. So its height is only about 5 to 7 feet. Its spread is about 4 to 7 feet. Its hardiness is in zones 9 through 11, which is super important because I'm a zone 8. It requires full sun. Now, why I love it and why it's on the list, well, it's Meyer lemons, and I love lemons. I think they're really fun to utilize. This is also readily available in nearly every store that I go to throughout the spring season. So it's right there in front of my face all of the time. The plant, you can plant it in a container and bring it in for winter. Yes and no. You can plant it in a container like me and then forget about it, leave it out there all winter. It would be something that I would need to be more diligent about. I would need to set myself up a system, a planter with rollers on it, a planter that's easy enough to get in, something that something that I prune that's not too large. And if I'm going to grow it, am I going to grow it in my backyard where it's going to be really hard to get it into my garage for the winter because we're in the back and the garage is in the front? Do I need to find a place for it in the front yard to grow it so that it's easier to get inside during the winter? That's some things to consider. Why I love it and why it's still on the list. Plant it in a container, bring it in for the winter like we just said. Fruit, it's sweeter, less acidic, and extremely juicy. And that is definitely a big thing. I do feel like the blossoms blow off really easily, so I think I'd have to put it in a more protected space where we're not dealing with that. The fragrant blooms are like nothing I've ever had before. Like they smell so amazing, and you can smell them throughout the entire garden, which is one of the things I love about it. And it's a beautiful ornamental shape. It's this traditional beautiful round shape that just makes you like, is that AI? Because it's just such this beautiful sweet little tree. It's definitely one I'm keeping on my list, and it's definitely one that if I do want to grow this, it's something that I need to focus on a little bit more. Okay, number 6 on my list is Owari Satsuma Mandarin. So its height is about 6 to 8 feet, but it can be pruned and kept at about a 5 to 6 foot range. Its spread is about 4 to 6 feet. It's hardy in zones 8B through 11, so it needs protection during hard freezes. Now, it doesn't mean that I necessarily have to bring it inside. I would just have to wrap it and cover it, which is still a possibility even at that size. It requires full sun, and it is self-pollinating. So why I love this variety, or why I'm keeping it on my list. It's considered one of the most cold hardy citrus varieties available. So I love the idea of perhaps being able to grow a citrus variety here in the North Texas area. Now, if you go south some, I mean, you can totally grow a ton more citrus in Texas, but my area still gets enough freezes and enough cold that it's right on the border line. But we love oranges. We love mandarins in our family. And so perhaps doing the work to grow this might be worth it. It's also sweet, almost seedless fruit. So I love the idea that there would be almost no seeds in it. So easier to eat for my family. And it peels easily. This is one of my husband's requirements for any kind of citrus fruit. He loves citrus fruit, but he hates it when they're really hard to peel. So I think having a variety that's easy to peel would be excellent for my garden. Okay, and number 7, the last one on my list is Nana Dwarf Pomegranate, which is very different for me. The height is only 2 to 4 feet tall. The spread is 2 to 4 feet wide. The hardiness is, it's hardy in zones 7 through 10. It's full sun, and it's self-pollinating. So why I love it. Okay, you're going to laugh at me when I say this. Just as ornamental as it is edible, it's beautiful. It's a beautiful, beautiful fruit tree. And that's what I was really drawn to when I was researching. It's naturally compact, excellent for containers, which I love that. It's unique, it's colorful, it's easy to fit in a very small garden. However, technically it's edible, but not as prolific and tasty as full-size pomegranates. So would I be just growing this pomegranate, this Nana Dwarf pomegranate? Would it be just growing it because it's pretty? and not necessarily because I would eat the fruit. The fruit are smaller. They are edible, but they're not as great as regular pomegranates. Is it worth the hassle? I don't know. But you guys are looking at these photos right now, and it's so pretty. So it still made my list. Not perhaps not as something that I would be growing for fruit, but something that I would be growing as an ornamental for color, uniqueness, and being able to harvest those branches with those little pomegranates on it for flower arrangements. I know that is not something that should be on my fruit tree list, but I couldn't help it, y'all. It is so stinking beautiful, and I just thought it was gorgeous. Okay, so that's my list. It's a small list. There's actually not a lot of great things that'll grow here in the North Texas area. A lot of the things that I see at the local nurseries are not things that do well here, or they're things that require a lot of babying, a lot of spraying, just more than I'm willing to give. So I wanted to point out, while we're on that topic, fruit trees that I stay away from. This is super important. I stay away from a standard peach. They get far too large for my space. I stay away from sweet cherries. They are poor performers here in the North Texas area because we do not get cold enough. I would love a cherry tree, but unfortunately you can't have that. Apricots, the early buds, their early buds and blooms get damaged in our late frost, so consistently they won't produce fruit. I stay away from standard apples. They require too much chill hours. That means they require too many chill hours during the winter, which we don't have, and are more prone to disease. And then pecans. They are wonderful, wonderful trees, but they're too large for my space. Okay, I gotta know what y'all thought about my list. Fruit trees, like I said, will be a brand new thing for me, and I don't want to just jump into it haphazardly because it's an investment of money, it's an investment of time, it's an investment of space, and I'm not just willing to give all those up willy-nilly. So I really want to put some time and effort into considering what would work best for me. I think one of the biggest misconceptions about growing fruit is that you need a huge backyard or a full orchard, which you don't. And I've proven it with this list. You don't have to have a massive space. Some of these trees, you could have several of these trees in your backyard right now and still have plenty of room. So whether you have a small suburban yard, a townhouse patio, or even just a sunny corner on your deck, there are fruit varieties that can fit your space and your needs. So start simple with one tree. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to start simple with a single tree. I'm going to learn how it grows. I'm going to enjoy the process. And then if I fall in love with growing my own fruit, I can always add another tree in the future. So we're going to start very simply this next spring. All right, you all. If you could only choose one fruit tree from today's list, which one would it be? Secondly, if you are in the North Texas Zone 8 area, specifically North Texas Zone 8 area, and you have a prolific fruit tree that's not too big, that doesn't get a lot of disease, that consistently produces fruit, I would love to know what that variety was and what you're doing to take care of that particular fruit tree. All right, y'all. I know this one is a little bit different, but research is important. It's important to buy. It's important to research things before you buy. And I am definitely someone who's bought a lot of plants and killed a lot of plants over time. But like I said with the fruit tree, it's going to be a lot of money, time, and space investment. And so I want to make sure that I'm being smart about it. All right, you all, I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you're like me and you're on a gardening journey and you would like to do that with some gardening friends, be sure to check out my Patreon community. The link is in the video description below. It's just a great group of people who like to talk about gardening on a daily basis. If you decide to become a patron, you get to be involved with exclusive lives that we do every month, videos only available to patrons, group chats, photo sharing, and direct messaging to me. All right, you all, as always, she's a mad gardener or a decorator or anything else that she wants to be. Thanks, y'all.